Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to our fifth podcast from Antel Economics, where today we're going to be talking about the importance of the gig economy. But before we start, we have got tweet of the week. So today's tweet of the week was in response to a CNN business tweet about the recovery of the restaurant industry, and it is: once lockdown is over and the pandemic eases, industries like these will definitely make a comeback. Who doesn't like a good buffet? Comment down below which industries you think are going to make the fastest and the quickest recoveries. And yeah, let's get into the podcast.
Yeah, hey guys. So today's topic is what is the importance of the gig economy? So if you didn't know, the gig economy is basically it's been around for many years. It's just where people do freelancing or one-off jobs for companies and employers. And yeah, they're technically on zero-hour contracts, so they're their own bosses. They can do anything they want on their own basis as long as they adhere to their contracts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, some of the biggest companies in the gig economy are Airbnb, Uber, Just Eat, Deliveroo, to name a few. And so, what do you think the importance of these companies are in our economy?
I think they've definitely brought something that is quite unique to the table. They have definitely filled some gaps in the market for sure. Uber has dominated now the taxi market for quite a number of years now,
Yeah, yeah,
um, and is now expanding into other things such as Uber Eats, which
yeah.
is trying to rival the Deliveroo and Just Eats. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like the gig economy is a nice way for individuals who are in employment to earn a passive income. And I think these companies who have set up, they've created a network of workers that are so powerful in the sense that there's so many of them to pick from that it's just, it's very prominent in our world right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have the ability to go into this type of work. 44% of these workers actually have uni degrees. So it doesn't
Yeah,
mean only available just for the people who don't have degrees, are less knowledgeable. It's actually something that a lot of people use. And
yeah,
I think
100%. Yeah,
51% use it as not even their main focus. They use it as like secondary income or something just to do on the side. And I think the
yeah.
flexibility allows them to do that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like the gig economy, I think is valued at over £40 billion.
Mm.
So it's very powerful in the sense that it's a relative. It's not a new thing. Like freelancing has always been prominent in our world, but recently, especially before the pandemic, the need and the startups of these companies such as Uber and Just Eat, the industry as a whole is really growing at a fast rate. It's exponentially growing, I'd say.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's exponentially grown. The other good thing about the gig economy is that it's sort of to an extent reduced the gender inequality.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's been, I think 33% of workers can actually use non-revealing gender names, which allows them to feel like they can be, not targeted, or they can be treated as equally as men in the world of work. What's your opinion on how this balance has changed?
I do. I can see how it does improve it, but I would argue that the change is kind of too. It's a subtle difference in the whole grander scheme, because if you look at the actual employed industry,
Mm.
there's vast gender inequalities lying there, and yes, the gig economy can help to increase opportunities for women, for demographics being that are experiencing these inequalities. But I don't think that the gig economy is doing enough to kind of just neutralize the inequalities that are present.
Yeah, I think the gig economy could definitely do more. I think there are definitely firms who could empower women a bit more. I think the pandemic has helped this to an extent. Workers have been performing strikes and things because they just don't agree with their setup. Uber for a whole month of the pandemic didn't offer anything to its workers. Only
Yeah,
on the 15th of April they started saying, "Oh, you can have £100 a week if you have coronavirus." And I think there could be more for the entire industry as well as
yeah,
women. So
yeah.
yeah,
No, that is one of the issues with the gig economy. Essentially, it's kind of based on free market principles. Companies, they demand work and they are supplied with it from mostly unemployed people or people who want to earn a passive income. And so, because they're not legally obliged to work, companies are able to set them free whenever they want. And so, that's a kind of a failure in the gig economy to kind of ensure job security, or, you know, um, ensure that people are receiving the benefits that they deserve. But then again, you could argue that that's the whole point of the gig economy. It's not meant to be a full-time employment thing.
Yeah. I think they're able to sort of do that because they know that a lot of their employees are only there temporarily. It's not their main focus, so they get away with a lot of things that normal employees just wouldn't get away with
Yeah,
because
yeah,
people just don't voice their opinion. I
yeah,
think coronavirus has helped them voice their opinion because obviously they've been in a position where they can't actually, work anymore because of the fear and the danger of contracting the disease and spreading the disease.
yeah, yeah. Talking like on the basis of COVID-19, like the impact of this pandemic on the gig economy must be huge, isn't it? Because companies like Uber, Airbnb, they've experienced negative growth during this
Yeah.
lockdown season as their whole business model is affected by it.
Yeah, I think Airbnb's been going down for a while, but they have I think a cash reserves of about $2 billion, which is definitely going to help them stay afloat during
Yeah,
this time. Their 2019 last quarter was they had a negative loss of I think over $250 million, which
yeah,
is quite substantial. But there is obviously at a time like now there is actually no demand for these Airbnb places because
yeah,
no
yeah. No, the
one
demand
can
isn't
actually
there.
travel.
Yeah,
I think demand is a very important factor for a lot of these companies.
yeah. Like even with the pandemic now, that people can't go to their work, these kind of gig economy companies that are reliant on these 0 hour workers, those workers aren't insured the safety that other employed people receive, purely because it's a gig economy, isn't it? So what do you think are the impacts of that? Because we're seeing loads of Uber drivers, we're seeing loads of Airbnb renters who aren't legally part of the company, and they're not receiving any kind of benefits from the company either.
Well, I think that is definitely down to the company. I know Uber recently have introduced a policy where they're offering free PPE, they're offering the hand gel, they're offering the face mask. I think these companies have to do a bit more for their employees because they're
Mm,
sort of being exposed during this time. And if they don't
yeah,
do so, if they're mistreating their employees, then who really is going to want to work there? It's not
yeah,
going
true. But then I would argue that the whole point of these companies, I don't feel like they're obliged to, give back to their workers, purely because the workers know when they sign up that this is a gig, this is like a one-time thing. They're not working on the basis that they're going to get future employment from the company. They're working on the basis that I'm doing this job and I'm going to get this amount of money from it. I know it's a bit harsh to say, but I think it's unfair for companies like Uber and Airbnb, who rely on people who just want to who propose that people just do the job and they get paid for that job. I think it's unfair for then people to say that they should reimburse these people during lockdown, or, you know, like I don't think they're
to.
obliged to do it. I think out of goodwill, yes, but I
Yeah, I
don't
think
think.
out of goodwill they should do something. Without the workers, they would be nothing. The companies would be nothing. The employees are at the core of their foundations, and if
Yeah,
20% of workers have savings, the other 77% are left to fend for themselves, and they have loved ones. They have to still pay bills, get food. So
yeah.
I think
But
I
then
think
I would ask you, what's the difference between a gig economy company like Uber then and like an established taxi company who offers benefits to their employers?
Well, the Uber company has its own USP, which is that you can order a taxi wherever you want, whenever you want. So that entices people to want that job. And then the reason why people work for Uber is because they can work whenever they want. But just because they want to
Yeah.
work whenever they want doesn't mean that they shouldn't be entitled to, some of
Mm,
their own benefits from the employer.
yeah. But moving away from that and kind of focusing more on the future, obviously COVID-19, it's put businesses in a bad spot. But
Yeah.
in terms of the future for the gig economy, I do think it's bright. I do think that it's going to continue growing once the pandemic is over. What about you?
No, yeah, I agree. I think I think a lot of more people are going to realize the value of it. I think
Yeah,
people may not have used delivery, just eat services like this, and now realized, oh, they don't need to go out to buy to get pick up a takeaway. They can just order it through these companies who may charge £1 or £2 for delivery, but at the end of the day, everyone pays for efficiency these days.
yeah, no, that's true. And like with the increasing development of technology these days, you know, the accessibility that people are getting, like companies like Fiverr, their employers are able to just scout people instantly to do like these quick administrative jobs or these coding jobs. And it's just like it just begs the question, are employees, permanent employees, are their abundance going to be reduced in the future?
Yeah, I think they might have a slight threat here, but then again, these people, people who are freelancers can get paid more. Under people like Uber and Deliveroo and Airbnb, they don't tend to get paid as high rates as the standard employees would do. But I
Yeah,
still think it could put normal employees' jobs at risk.
yeah, no, that is true. Especially with COVID-19 now, as companies, maybe not now, but once the pandemic's kind of elevating away, companies are going to need to, they're going to have to employ like increased resources, such as these freelance workers, to kind of facilitate the recovery. And
Yeah,
so I think that's a way the gig economy is going to grow.
yeah, I think it will help them because they will look at alternatives to lowering their cost of production, especially in a time like this where it's quite
Yeah,
high. And they'll
yeah,
look just try not to have full employment in their company because they can't afford it at this time,
yeah,
but just to
yeah,
have people in that they need to do their jobs.
yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's all we got for today.
yeah.
So
Thank you
you
guys
guys,
for listening.
so make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below.
Yeah, and follow our Twitter account at Antel Economics for more content on a daily basis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see you
thanks for
guys.
watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.